Hi, welcome back to the channel. Well, it's been a week now since the Vorschlaghammer dropped, so we've all had chance to buy it, to drive it, and to build it. Well, now the smoke and dust from shredded tyres has settled, I'd like to do this quick video to give you my pluses and my minuses for the Vorschlaghammer. And I'm going to start with the pluses, in no particular order. Firstly, this is two cars in one. It is of course the W124 Mercedes, primarily the AMG Hammer. That in itself is awesome. That is enough for me to have bought one of them straight away. And of course we can do some Mercedes 190e builds on the car as well, because it is substantially so similar, and they've even put one or two 190e parts on the Vorschlaghammer. So we can do 190e builds, and that's great because that car has more interesting builds available, as far as I'm concerned anyway, than the E-Class 124. Another plus point was of course the Dent 76, which is the Sonax livery from the DTM race car. Really famous car, fantastic to have that livery. I'd planned that build all along and was so pleased they put it in there. Of course it's lovely to drive, and it's also lovely to drift. More about that in my videos. I don't want to repeat it all now, but I like it very much. I also think the Pandem arches on the car are really great. Now, I'm not a sort of Pandem arches, Rocket Bunny sort of person, but at least they work and you can build that car so you can have an aggressive and modified car. And best of all, those stock rims for the Hammer. They've done this so much recently where the stock rims are one of the more iconic rims on the car, and they hit it out of the park here. Really chuffed with those. I was also delighted to find the 190e Evo 2 splitter done almost exactly, and the rear wing done pretty well. So these are all plus sides, and just these by themselves mean I think that everybody should have at least one of these cars, even if you just make the Hammer or maybe just make, I say, the Rocket Bunny wide body car. There are some negatives though, and some I think are more serious than others. One is that it's not as fast as I really think it should be, and it doesn't sound as good as I think it should be. But I'm a real world builder as much as I drive the cars, and I've said many times they don't all have to be race winning cars. That said, I just wish there was a bit more thunder to the way that it went. The livery selection is poor, and that I do find very disappointing. I love the Sonax. I like the fact that they put the Falcon one in there, so although making a drift version of the car was a strange decision, I think, well, it works if you put the Falcon build on there, so that was okay. But what about the rest? There's nothing there really. And if you want the ASAP car from the Need for Speed film, well, you have to be a GTA Plus member and be running on next gen, and I thought that was a bit naughty, to be honest with you. So we have the fact that they're really intending you to do 190e builds on this car as well, and they don't give you the livery for so many of the other DTM builds that you could build, and I just find that a bit sad. Also, there's no spoiler, which I think is called a bridge spoiler, correct me if I'm wrong, but this spoiler here that I'm showing you this on a Brabus version of the 190e. This would have been a nice, simple and clean build, wouldn't it? But the spoiler isn't there. It's there on loads of other Rockstar cars, so that was disappointing. It also is the reason I never did you a privateer rally build of the car. Not only could I never find an appropriate livery, but every rally car I looked at had that spoiler. The Sonax livery being tied to the drift car is a weird decision. It's a DTM car, for goodness sake, so that is a definite negative. Forces you to have those fuel cell things in the trunk, which they're fine, they look racy. But I've saved the most heinous crime till last. You know what's coming if you watched any of the builds pretty much, and it's the wheel arch extensions. When they made the 190e Evo 2, which was of course a homologation special for building the DTM and various other cars on, they gave them a very specific set of stuck-on arches. They changed the inner wheel arch shape from a sort of squarish shape to round, and they have a very definite outside shape, so distinctive. But they didn't do that. They just gave you some bolt-on similar shaped square arches, and for me this really spoiled so many of the builds on this car. Now that's one of the reasons in the background you've been seeing the Hammer again, because the Hammer and the Sonax car are, at least for the moment, how I've decided to keep my two cars. The Hammer because it is absolutely iconic, and because I can get it fairly close. I don't have to worry about the arches. The Sonax car because it's what I'd always wanted to make on this car from the moment it was announced. But the arches do great, and I certainly wasn't going to have two cars using those wrong arches. And you know, if I wasn't so wanting the classic DTM car, my second car would in fact just be the Pandem Rocket Bunny car, because I would have been able to make it so much closer, as you just seen on the video. In summary, I love the car, despite the negatives I've just given you. I'm so pleased that they brought this car out, and I absolutely recommend it to anybody to buy, even if you just pick up one. Make the AMG Hammer, pop it in your Merc collection and call it job done. While I am just a bit sad really at the missed opportunities that I've outlined in this video that, to my mind as an IRL builder, are a bit sad. That's enough from me. I wanted this to be under 5 minutes. I've recorded it twice to try and make it under 5 minutes, and I have spectacularly failed. But I'd like to hear from you. I'd like to know how many you've bought, what you've done with them. That would be really interesting, and also your final thoughts on this car. Would you recommend it to other people? Let me know down below. And otherwise, I've taken up enough of your time, so take care, and thank you so much for watching.